Have you ever had store-bought chocolate milk?
Again, I've told you, even as a child, I couldn't do chocolate milk.
Why not?
It's distracting. Milk needs to be milk. I don't like things in my milk that aren't milk.
Boy, they did a number on you.
They didn't do a number on me. This has nothing to do with any indoctrination. Every kid in my class loved chocolate milk, and I was like, no, give me the white stuff. Give me that 2% that I gotta have.
And you're drinking, what's he drinking? Champagne cocktail.
All right, Casey says that beer show should be called Old Man Dave Wants Things a Certain Way. It's not about being old. I've always wanted things a certain way.
Hello, turtles.
Hello, turtles.
Here it comes. Ready? There it is. Welcome, everybody, to the improved, now called Turtle News.
No soup for you.
That's it. No soup. We're done. There's no soup.
No soup.
Soup is gone. I made an executive decision, and there's no more soup. This is Turtle News, the Dave and Darren fan show. Now, I did that because, as a lot of you already know from when we first talked about this podcast on the Dave and Darren Podcast not too long ago, that there is already a turtle soup. And really, that should have been the name of this show. It would have been a great name. Unfortunately, someone was already smart enough to take it. So that's already a thing, and I'm going to let them have their thing and take out this inside joke of JP's Turtle Soup and make it the Turtle News program here. So it's episode 3, and we're ready to go. Aren't you, Josh?
I'm ready to go. And we should actually call this Turtle News episode 1.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't be episode 3. Yes, it's episode 3. Yes, it's the third podcast, but it's episode 1 of Turtle News.
Episode 1 of Turtle News, I think that sounds fine. I already called episode 2 A Brave New World. You know, when it comes to numbering, every once in a while they bring in like a series from Japan of video games or of movies, and they call it something different, and it's always confusing. There's actually a really funny podcast or video channel on YouTube called Cinemassacre, home of the angry video game nerd, that people should really check out because he has a video talking about chronologically confused about like Rambo, First Blood, and then there's Rambo 2, First Blood, or whatever, and it's a really funny video. So I do suggest you check that out. It's pretty funny. So yeah, it's a brand new world for us, and even though episode 2 is called that, it still exists. It's still the same coming into this show. So I just wanted to update everybody on that. Podbean will host the show for the current epeisode. So if you want to listen to the current episode via a podcatcher, you'll want to visit the page turtlenewsteam.podbean.com. So just that week's episode will be available. So coming up here in about, hopefully, an hour, I'll be posting the new episode and taking the old one down, and that's how that'll go from now on. Where you can find everything all the time is our YouTube channel. YouTube doesn't really give you the great opportunity to say youtube.com/Turtle News. So I'm going to post that on Facebook, the link to our YouTube channel. You can also just search it out by putting in Turtle News Dave and Darren into YouTube, and it'll come right up. So like or subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. And find us on Facebook as well, which that is an easy one, facebook.com/Turtle News Team. And on Twitter, @Turtle News Team. So there's the big update. That's where we're at. That's where we're going to be. And thanks for joining me again, Josh. I really appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. I'm here for you.
Oh, well, thank you, bud.
I'm here for you.
I'm really
here for everybody.
That's all turtles are welcome, and I'm really glad that you didn't, after last time, decide to bail on me.
No bail.
Bail.
Thank you, Darren. I appreciate that.
Unlike Darren, I'm not a bailer.
We're going to talk a little Sweet Eileen in just a minute, but first... So we're going to go into the news portion of the show right now, and we have to start with the fact that the Dave and Darren podcast has been listened to and downloaded over 500,000 times, which Dave told us...
In lifetime hours, is 56 plus hours.
Exactly. 60 years.
66 plus years, yes.
An old you have to be a champion for over 16 years to actually get all the listens to the podcast that everyone has downloaded. Now, I do have something to say regarding that, because I've noticed over doing this for a couple episodes now that the listens you get are kind of diluted by the fact that I know that I've done enough work on these podcasts and this show that I've probably contributed about 100,000 listens. So I'm sorry, Dave and Darren. Your numbers may be a bit inflated. I didn't mean to, but at least I invented your show. So yeah. I'm offsetting my contribution with with some troublemaking, but that's okay. That's no problem. Now, the other thing, and congrats, by the way, fellas, on the 500,000 listens.
That's a lot. I mean, especially since October. I mean, it's only been 6 months, not even 6 months, and over 500,000. That's awesome. And to
shoot up the ranks of Podbean and be one of the best podcasts on their channel, not according to Dave and Darren, but according to Podbean themselves, is a really great achievement. So I'm so glad that they had that happen. So big cheers to you. We also found out this week that apparently Carl is still around, picking up some sandwiches over in Rock Island occasionally. And, boy, I can't wait for we've had some great appearances on the show since it's new home. But haven't heard from Haut Carl yet, so I hope that does happen, because Haut Carl was always a fun guest to have on the show. Something that did not surprise me very much. We learned a little bit more, got a window into the early upbringing of our friend Sweet Eileen. Now, it's not news to me that Sweet Eileen's mom may have been a very interesting contributing factor growing up for Eileen. And you can tell that by a couple of stories that we were told. Now, we already know about the story of Sweet Eileen being in the car with Mom, heading towards that lawyer's office, and being told to basically jump out of the moving car.
Bail!
So, thank goodness that she didn't end up in the lawyer's office in the car. But we found out some new pieces to that puzzle. And one of them was her brother standing outside doing jumping jacks in his underpants saying he's a ravishing rabbit. Or I would assume it was I'm a ravishing rabbit. Which, can you help me with this, Josh? I don't know. What does that prove necessarily? Is that...
I don't know. I mean, he must have been doing something to a rabbit to make her want to make him jump outside in his underwear saying, I'm a ravishing rabbit. I mean, we're thinking about a rabbit. I mean, what does Bugs Bunny got to say about this?
Bugs. That's a good question. We should have Bugs on the show. Is there a way that we can do that? Is he out there somewhere? I don't think Mel Blanc's still alive, unfortunately. That'd be a good guest, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you the amount of hours as a kid I spent watching Bugs Bunny and all the Looney Tunes. I wasn't much into like Disney stuff. I was so enamored with Looney Tunes from the first time I saw it. Something about Bugs really got me. And then there was also the cartoons where basically it was the blank of tomorrow. So like the House of Tomorrow, the Car of Tomorrow. Those were always funny. Yeah. And
those were good.
Absolutely. And even as a kid, there was something kind of snarky to them, sort of cynical in a way that even as a little kid, they just must have been in my DNA somewhere that just really got to me and made me laugh. So we heard about that, which is also funny, and then right after that, basically, we also found out that Eileen's mom saw monsters on the roof and was worried that the monsters were telling her that they might wanting her to get up on the roof and jump off or something like that. I think the idea has come to me this week that I have to sit down with Sweet Eileen and I just have to do like a long form interview and get these stories on tape and just do a segment every once in a while, a little nugget for the show that's just, Sweet Eileen's sweet stories or something like that, because
I call them stories of the sweet Eileen.
There it is. So, as we know, listening from the Hickey Brothers podcast, compared to me sitting here and just yakking away at nonsense, if Owen was listening, he'd tell you that that's what this is.
Nonsense, Dad, nonsense.
I guarantee that I have nothing. If I spent 50 hours sitting here talking about my life, I could not come up with anything so funny and entertaining as what Eileen can tell us. So that's got to be
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Just 5 minutes. We combined, we could spend 100 years between you and I talking about our lives, and nowhere near come close to 5 minutes of Eileen's life.
Yeah, I think that's non-contested by anybody. So that's so true, and I think a new segment is born here on the show. So we'll have to get working on that. With that, I think that closes our Turtle News exclusives here. This week it could be 4, it could be 5, it could be 8. The great thing about the show is, as I'm sitting here trying to figure out what I'm going to do for this, I'm always like, I really want to talk about this, I really want to talk about that. But we're trying to have a compact show, so I could talk about 8 things. I could talk about 15 things. So I'm
going to limit you to the top 5 things, or 4, depending on the week. Like this week is 4, most weeks are 5. The top 4 things or 5 things of the week that happened on the podcast. Not 8, not 12, 4 or 5. We're going to keep it at that.
I think that's a good idea. That will help us shoot up the internet ratings, and we'll be at the top, You
seen the rating spark plug? Number 8, baby, and climbing.
We're almost there. 8 is just like 7 away from number 1.
Right around the corner.
Yeah. We're so close.
So close. Just can't touch it.
Yeah. So we're going to start the top 4 to 5 things this week with the River Cities Reader article. I was so happy when this came out. We talked a little bit about it last week. Jeff just wrote a great article, and it told us a little more information about the guys and what they're trying to do with the show, what their what their dreams are with it, I guess you could say, and where they're trying to go with it. It was very interesting to me because it gave us a little more behind the scenes look at what they're doing than we've gotten just by listening to the show. One thing that hasn't changed from FM to now the podcast is that they're not talking about the behind the scenes of what the FM radio experience was like for them, which I'd be really interested to hear, because those kind of stories they're always something that you can't get anywhere else. You don't hear that. So whenever there's a nugget like that on the show, it always really interests me to hear. Like when they were talking previously about the Christmas parties that they didn't attend.
Oh yeah.
Which
the ones they went to, and then the ones they didn't went to, or the ones they didn't want to admit they went to.
Right. There's all those different categories. So every time it was the holidays, they were just sitting there going,
"Oh, surely not again. Surely not again."
Oh, it's the holidays, the worst time of the year. Now, I always loved the holiday parties that I've went to for my work. So I don't really have that experience. I've got a good bosses that throw good parties, so that's really nice, and not everybody gets that. So that's good to hear.
Good to experience for you,
right? Well, I'm a lucky guy. I'm a lucky guy to be doing what I'm doing and wasting a lot of
the internet and everything else.
That surprisingly, that only took about 10 minutes. I'm
I just texted Jen from Shameless Jocksaholic here on Facebook and asked her to keep me one of the papers, the River City papers, and I asked her if she'd keep me one. She texted me, "Absolutely." and in parentheses she said drink, and here I am with my Woodchuck hard cider taking a drink in her favor.
Nice. Well, thank you, Jen, for listening and being a fan of the show. How about that? We have fans? I didn't know that. I was totally unaware.
Such a weird thing.
You're drinking. What was it you were drinking there?
Woodchuck hard cider. I'm not. I've gotten away from the beers. I'm more into the ciders or the craft beers from Bent River Brewery or
Nice.
Many of our breweries around town. I'm more into the crafter ones. Not so much the Budweisers or the Bud Lights or the Millers. Just into the nice smooth apple ciders.
I'm unashamedly, I will always tell you that my beverage of choice is Mike's Hard Lemonade. I have no problem. I don't have to sit here and posture and yell out things like I'm a man. I'm 40. To tell everybody that I'm a big, strong fella. I drink what I want to drink. Now, see, it kind of surprises me that you're drinking your cider, because I thought surely
He's
you'd
drinking, what's he drinking? Champagne cocktail.
You're drinking some champagne cocktails.
I can't afford champagne cocktails, even at $6 a big bottle.
Aww. Well, that's too bad. Hey, better days are ahead, my friend. Better days are ahead. So anyway, the article is really good, and Jeff kind of was a little self-deprecating about his appearance on the show, but I really thought that the guys had a great conversation with him about journalism. Now, when I graduated the University of Iowa, my degree was in cinema, and I had a minor in journalism and mass communication. So it's funny because a lot of folks would expect to tune into a show back in the FM days to the Dave and Darren show, and probably now to the Dave and Darren podcast, and expect a morning show to be kind of the wacky, whoa, hey everybody, welcome to the show. We're going to give away, hey, I'm Short Bus and Stroke, and we're coming to you live from the Panhandle of Northwest Florida. But
coming to you from America's Wing.
Florida, but that's America's Wing.
Of course. Well, and what a great place it is. There might not, I say I invented the podcast, but really I think it's Florida. I think Florida did it.
All the old people.
Yeah.
They take credit for it all.
They're just the worst. So, but anyway, what I was saying was that what's nice about the show is they've got elements of that silly, wacky morning show, but there's also those moments that really make me happy where it's a little bit, you can learn something, or not only that, you can get some an interview in this case that is well thought out, and the questions are really smart and intelligent. So Dave did a really good job with that interview, talking to Jeff. And, the guy, especially the guys coming in to talk with them, whether it was Dave Heller on a recent podcast this week, or whether it's Jeff, or whether it's someone back in the FM days.
Stature.
Right. Okay. Now, they also did a great job when they were talking to, like, Lovie Smith. I don't know if you remember that. Well, of course, it may or may not have been Lovie Smith. I couldn't tell. It was so well done that I couldn't quite tell who was really calling in, whether it was Lovie or not back in the day. That's on Dave Lavora's YouTube channel, by the way. So go watch that video. That's kind of funny. But yeah, so the podcast and the show is not just the normal wackiness that you get from one of those Stroke and Short Bus kind of shows, but it's just a really good podcast in that way that it's fun.
It's much like it was when they were on FM, old timey FM radio. I mean,
yeah,
it really hasn't changed too much except for all the music.
Right.
I mean, that's the only thing that's changed is all the music is gone. It's just the guys doing what they do best, which is great.
Yeah, and that was a great part of the article as well, because he laid out the advantages to listening to the podcast and the streaming stations as well. What I found really interesting was that whole section, because if I wanted to hear the show in the mornings, chances are I was really only listening to about the same amount of time that I do now. But it was strung out over 4 hours. I couldn't always get to the show because I wasn't in my car or I wasn't, by the radio. So what happens is you miss something and then not only do you miss something, but you don't know that you've missed something because you don't have that community saying, oh, the really funny thing on the show today because they were talking about this, and it limits how much you can talk about what's already happened. And so the podcast really is a big improvement to, even if you're not reaching as many people. And I know it's got to be tough to, because right now while we're doing this podcast, we have jobs outside of the podcast. They're trying to make the podcast and these stations work as their job, and I really hope they do. They've obviously got the talent to do it. They're professionals and they're great at what they do. Yeah. So, and we're a couple of months away from them basically, doing this show for 11 years. And it's so fitting that their anniversary date is April 1st. It's something about April Fool's Day. It just makes sense, doesn't it?
It's almost like, we started April Fools.
Right.
No, really, we did start.
No. Everything I say, Chris, everything I say is a lie, except that, and that, and that, and that, and that, and that.
I didn't lie. And that.
So, yeah, just a great article. Pick up a River Cities reader. You should be picking up a River Cities reader anyway. So go out and do that, everybody, and check out the article. It was really well done, and I hope that gets them some more listens that they wouldn't have gotten before. So definitely read into that.
Even more downloads.
Right. Hey, 1 million in 3 more months, Every little bit gets going that much. The other thing that was interesting was finding out kind of what a normal day looks like, or what a normal week looks like as far as numbers for the streaming stations and everything. I'm surprised in some ways if you look at it and you say, "Wow, we got this many listens." You're both thinking, I think, at the same time, "Wow, we got this many listens," and we only got that many listens. Because that people that are listening because they love the thing that they're tuning in for, and they're also listening, but they have to know where it's at, and that's really the struggle that they're going to find for a while. But I hope that all of the turtles that are out there listening to their show, and along with that our show, are really going out there and doing their job as turtles, and going out there and making sure this thing keeps rolling. Hey, without them, we wouldn't be sitting here doing this.
Exactly.
So, which they may or may not be happy about. I don't.
Dave's happy about it. Darren, I don't know too much. Dave's happy.
It's so hard to get a read on Darren. Don't even try. Give up. You're not going to do it. It's not happening.
He's a champion. You can't get a read on champions at the time.
When you reach champion status, you don't really, you're not beholden to anybody. So the next thing on the list here in the top 5 things is, as I've alluded to recently here, stroke and short bus and crowdfunding and all this stuff this week. Look, I know morning radio, and part of the article talked about how radio itself, FM radio, is just, they're hanging on, man. They're trying their best to hang on. And things like trying to get your listeners into a porn movie or whatever. Just one of these stunts that, first of all, how does this stuff even happen? But secondly, how do you have a morning show that's called the Stroke Show? How does that even work? I don't get it.
It's the Stroke Morning Show. Good morning, folks. I'm Stroke. Not Stroker, just Stroke.
Right. Well, easy now. When I first heard this, I thought to myself, now this could either be one of these wacky morning radio shows, or it could really be like an AM 40s station. It's like, oh, hello, and here we are with the top 40 in the 40s, and the flappers are out today. Oh no, I'm sorry, we just lost another one to a stroke. Oh no, oh shoot.
Surely not again. Surely not again.
So either way, I'm not listening to that. I'm not listening to that. But what it does for me is it just reaffirms that even though I've only done 2 podcasts, and I'm an amateur at this thing, I'm not talking myself up here thinking I'm some amazing podcast host, but I gotta think, if these guys are on the radio and ladies that are getting tattoos on their body as art, and some guy taking women out on dates, and he's a part-time writer.
Trying to get money for it.
They're getting money for this stuff. Surely, if I started a podcast network, my goal is to start some sort of podcast empire, and recording my drums that are just sitting behind me going to waste. Surely I could get funded for that. I mean, if these people can do it and are even getting a penny, you gotta figure. But what it comes down to is the world we live in. It's going to get harder to. It's probably going to get harder to make money on your everyday normal stuff that people would in the real world that we currently live in make money on. And it's starting to be where you can have a YouTube channel where you're opening. Have you ever seen this? People that unboxing is a big thing.
Oh yeah.
So
I used to follow a guy before I got my Galaxy S4. I used to follow a guy. His name was What Would Josh Do?
Okay.
And I didn't follow it because his name was Josh or anything. Because he would, unbeknownst to me,
Right.
I followed him because he would always have the newest of new cell phones, and he would do a great job unboxing them and going through them. And there was another one, PhoneDog.com.
Yeah.
They would do unboxing. And there was a guy on their website that was like their chief editor or whatever that, he would do very good unboxings. He would show you everything that came with it, and he would compare it next to the model that was behind it, or another, he'd do a Samsung next to Motorola, or next to an HTC, or even an Apple, which
right.
You can't compare an Android to Apple because Android just eats apples all day long. But
apples to apples, apples to oranges,
no.
apples to apples, Androids to apples.
Yeah,
it's tough.
And the guys that do it, that do very well at it, they have the manufacturers send them the newest phones just for them to do that. And they make pretty darn good money. Every view that they get, the manufacturer or, the sponsors the ads that run on their channels, send them a little kickback because of the ads that are shown on their channel.
Sure. And yeah, it's also amazing. It's another one of those things of when you've got something that you're looking at and you're thinking to yourself, how is this watchable? And this is great. I got to watch this stuff. I watch a lot of people playing video games. Like Game Grumps is one that I really enjoy that's really funny. Like I mentioned before, Cinemassacre, who has the angry video game nerd character who does kind of silly reviews of older video games. And I just subscribed
to him too because of you. Thank you.
Hey, no problem. Yeah, I highly recommend that. It's very funny stuff. So, in a way, it's like, well, what are you doing watching silly stuff like this? But at the same time, it's in some ways it's better than what you could see on TV. It's also 10-minute episodes of something where you can watch it in a short term and come back to it later, and it's easy to digest. It's quick, but it's still a lot of fun. So, but still, it's amazing the amount of funding or money that's spent on something like this, or as was brought up this week on the show, all these different people that spend money on drinking air freshener or sitting around in full in arm casts or something, which
that's going to be my new thing, I think. Sitting around in body cast, just walk into a restaurant, put a video camera across the street or something like that, just point it at me, Just sit in an outside restaurant and just sit there with that, and and have a drink on the table with the straw, and see how many people will give me a drink.
Nice. You can
like the old jackass days.
You can tell me that the reason you're doing that is for drinks, but I'll tell you what I think it is.
For the sexual thrill! The sexual thrill!
Every day.
Oh, that's that's pretty gory. Oh,
Gory! Oh my god!
Well, you talked about
all over his face.
You talked a little bit about sponsorships for things a minute ago, so I just wanted to break in with some breaking news here with the Turtle News team. I'm not going to do sponsors, but I am going to do fake sponsors. So this week's fake sponsor is a new specialty company out there, and I'm really glad they're on board. They're at 123 Fake Street down there in the middle of Davenport. Don't try and find them. It's not easy. What they do is they will come to your house, and they're all 7 feet tall or taller. And what they do is, if you can't reach something, they'll reach it for you. Now, I can think of one man in the Quad Cities that needs this service. And that's why I'm so glad that they're our first fake sponsor. Because, obviously, the Lavora household needs someone to help Dave out if he can't reach something. So, the ladder company, go give them a call, especially if you're Dave, and you need some help because you can't get on a ladder. So, if you're not allowed on a ladder, that's the place for you. And
phone number is 555. That's
KL5.
55.
KL5 2384. Oh, boy. All right. Well, I'm not exactly sure if that was comedy gold or...
Is it? I'm sorry. I mean, how often... oh, man. Nobody thinks that's funny?
That's probably what just happened, but...
Probably.
Hey, swing for the fences, man. Swing for the fences. Yeah, I should have written something down. Whatever. Too late. Who cares? I'm over it. So anyway,
right.
Number 3 on the list this week is...
Along with imaginary sponsors.
Yeah, speaking of imaginary... Segway Master, Josh Haut, Golden One, 9140 on Mixlr, and everywhere else.
Everywhere else. If you ever want to find me on anything, Golden 9140 is me. You see it pop up? Yeah, I know that voice.
That's him.
I may have met that guy.
He is...
Damn it, why did I meet him?
He's an internet celebrity only bested by Frankie McDonald. There has to be an episode of Turtle News featuring an interview with Frankie McDonald. I'm going to make that happen. I promise you. I will work on that. I will make that happen. That will be an episode. I'm not kidding. That will be an episode. I think that would be fantastic and a lot of fun. So that's in the works. That's along with New Year's Eve and Nacho Fest. That's in the works. So we learned from Dave this week about his big plan, his foolproof plan to meet chicks with his buddy down in the Quad Cities. And as I mentioned last week, any mention of something that makes me think of Family Guy always makes me laugh. And so when he was talking about Mandy DeWitt, and turns out at the end of the podcast we're doing some singing about Mandy, all I could hear was, "Oh, Quagmire, when you came and you gave without taking." I just I couldn't help it. I thought it was fantastic. A little creepy. I'll grant you that. But anytime Lavora sings, it kind of makes me smile. Now, I have here in the news file some extra little gems that I would like to share. So let's see if I can get to these.
Don't reach too hard. I don't want you to fall out of the chair.
Right. Oh, where are they? See,
although I will
this
laugh.
Oh, what a gaffe. What a gaffe. Oh, well. Oh, wait, here they are. Here we go. Ready? Are you ready for this, Josh?
I'm waiting.
I paid my dues.
Time after time, I paid a sentence, Darren.
Oh, thanks, Dave. Thanks, Dave, for that. You know, I'll tell you one thing.
That was Thursday's podcast, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
The end of Thursdays? Yeah, I remember that now.
And, you know, thank you, Dave, for putting yourself out there. We make fun of you, shrimp cocktails and all this. Ovaltine is something you eat. Okay, we make fun of you, but, you know, you're our friend.
I don't like chocolate milk. You know, I have something to say about that.
Okay.
Him not liking chocolate milk, he's got an A in my book. I don't really care for chocolate milk myself either.
Okay.
You know, it's just not fun. You know, chocolate doesn't belong in milk. It belongs in your hand, but not in your milk.
Where it will not melt.
Exactly. As long as it's got a candy shell, it will not melt in your hand, only in your mouth.
Nicely done. Yeah. Well,
eat your M&Ms, folks. Eat your M&Ms.
What it made me think of when Dave was talking about that and all of his kind of aversions to different foods or whatever, all I was thinking was this George Carlin bit, who's another one of my favorites. He was talking about being a fussy eater, and he said, "Fussy. I was known as a fussy eater. Fussy eater, of course, being a euphemism for big pain in the ass." And that's, you know, more Ovaltine, please. So he likes.
You're going to make me go through all my George Carlin MP3s that I have just to find that bit.
Yeah. Well, Carlin, to me, was not only one of the best stand-up comedians that ever lived, but he was also one of the best orators. Or when I was in high school, I did individual and group speech events. So I would do, which is part of the reason why I thought I was talented enough to do this. So jury's still out on that. But what
George Carlin got to say about this.
What was if you want to really be blown away by something, one of his last specials, he came out and when I saw him on that show, I was like, oh my, he looked completely different. He looked like he got old, like just overnight. And so I think he knew that. And he came out and he just nailed this 2.5 minute bit. And it was called A Modern Man. And it's weird. To me, sometimes people like that have such an amazing impact on a life, on the lives of the people that they're entertaining, to the point where at the end of that, like, I almost get a tear in my eye. Because it's so perfectly done. He comes out and he looks like an old man, but he just pounds right into this amazing, very difficult to do, just from a technical standpoint of breathing and attacking the right words at the right time and pacing, and just unbelievable. So you check that out as well. Something really amazing to listen to. So these kind of orators are amazing. So he was always one of my favorites and always will be. I definitely miss hearing his take on everything because it was always very, very funny.
Oh, so incisive. I mean, he had his insights to everything. Great.
Right. No, you nailed it. You hit the nail right on the button there. So yeah, Mandy DeWitt. Mandy, oh Mandy. And
you came and you gone, and now who are you? Who's this Mandy? I was really waiting for Jenny, his wife, to chime in on Mixlr or something like that during a period break or something. Dave, who's Mandy?
I'd kick the crap out of her if I could find her.
She's got to be somewhere in the Quad Cities. I know this. You keep speaking of her.
Yeah. Well, I noticed one of the Quad City Times writers is named Jennifer DeWitt, and I wondered if that was maybe her sister, but Dave quashed those rumors, said no comment, basically. No, I think he said that no relation, but, you know, sometimes I take a creative license with things, so I think he actually said no comment, but I could be wrong. The Turtle News team is not afraid to issue a retraction if we get something wrong, so there's that. But yeah, I mean, the plan, I don't know if it was smart or not, but I think if they didn't get sidetracked, talking about how great their girlfriends were. It could, who knows? I mean, stranger things have happened. In my experience, guys are kind of clueless sometimes because sometimes, especially when I was younger, I would have probably gotten hit on and probably not even known it. So maybe they weren't striking out as much as they thought they were. They just didn't exactly know all the telltale signs of when someone might be interested in them. It's possible. Just one man's opinion could be, but I don't know. I think there's probably things that could have worked out a little better than imaginary girlfriends. But
maybe that's how we got through high school, though. He had that girlfriend down in Tennessee that nobody could ever see or prove that was alive.
You don't know, man. You never seen her, but she's there. She's there. The sweater idea was pretty funny.
26, 36.
Yeah.
Only if she's 5'3".
Oh, dang it. I don't have anything related to... Oh, shoot. No, I don't. I'm looking at the board right now. What do I have that would fit that? Nothing. What's great about this board is I actually have one that's called random. It feels to me like the button in the Wonkavator.
Oh, yeah.
It will take us up ways, down ways, sideways, front ways, any kind of ways.
Wait.
Which by the way, Gene Wilder, University of Iowa graduate. He's a Hawkeye. So
no kidding.
God bless him. Yeah, absolutely.
That is some good need to know information.
It is. Hey, the Turtle News team is here for you. Filled with useless trivia. By the way, speaking of University of Iowa trivia, freezing sperm, you can thank the University of Iowa for that. That's where it was developed.
Oh.
Yeah. Sperm whales everywhere are saying thank you. Thank you for that. So, yeah.
We're not freezing their poop in the water, damn it.
If only you could float on it. If only you could float on it. It would have been okay.
He wouldn't have had it everywhere.
Boy, Brad was really excited hearing that story because Sharknado can now be a thing.
Same segue.
Yeah, he's been hoping that this story would come along for a long time because Sharknado was something that he's been pushing for quite a while. I don't know if I was in the water and that happened to me, I think I would be a little bit something like this. And I don't think it would end. I think it would just continue forever. And
just continue. I posted a picture of Homer in the shower, and it says when that hot water just suddenly hits you, and just got him going, the same sounds that you just had, the same drop that you just played, just brought that picture into my mind. I was like, that would be what it'd be like if you were in the water when a freaking sperm whale does an unexpected, what they call it, an unexpected
defense mechanism.
Right. Defense mechanism. Yeah. The defense mechanism. One way of Homer put it out there.
You got it. So, number 4 this week. On to number 4, Stunt Club. Now, I wanted to bring this up because this is something that I talked about being a really funny bit a long time ago that I don't know if I think, Dave, I'm sure after you do, the show for years and, they all kind of maybe blend together. This was one of those bits that really stuck out to me and made me laugh. So I wanted to bring it up real quick. Because a couple of stunts this week went horribly wrong, and a couple of folks ended up, unfortunately, a member of thinning the herd because of it. The first one, of course, was the fella that had some energy drinks and tried to outrun a locomotive. So apparently, when you down a lot of energy drinks, you're not Superman. You're not faster than a steaming locomotive. Yeah, there you go. Stronger than a locomotive. You can't jump buildings in a single bound. No, really all what you can do in that scenario is end up as a splatter on the front of a train. I kind of wonder, was this Surge? Was that?
Oh, God.
Surge! Those commercials were always great. Jumping over sofas in the middle of a street. What a 90s beverage and what a 90s commercial that was. So the other part of the thinning the herd that was very funny was the fact that, unfortunately, the human cannonball has passed away due to some faulty equipment. Yes, I know. It's very sad, and, you know, it's not surprising, though, either. When you're in that kind of work, these things can happen. And, you know, sometimes you just have to look and say, hey, he died doing what he loved. And
he died because it defaulted.
He always wanted to be a human lawn dart. Thank you, Darren.
God darn safety net.
Darren, every once in a while, Darren will say something that it sticks with me for like months. And that's one of those, when he said the human lawn dart, it's just so great. It's so funny. So, unfortunately, that fella didn't quite make it. Not quite. So there's not too many times that you're gonna fall from 40 feet without a net onto your head and survive. Not too many. And this was no exception. What I was kind of
parachute when you needed one,
right? The only I've been playing a lot of Mario 64 because my son likes watching me play, and he just sits there. He goes around the room going, yeah, wah, yahoo. So that's what that reminds me of getting in the cannon. It comes up and it shoots Mario, and at one point Mario goes, wah, and
shoot you to the top of the castle.
Right. But in this case, there's no net, there's no nothing. There's not even a castle. There's just the ground to land on. And all I can think of is this guy either doing one of two things. Going, wah, lawn dart. Or... and then as soon as he hits the ground, I just really wanted to hear... Or the yeah, in midair, bail, I don't have a choice. Oh no!
I knew I should have packed a parachute last week.
Surely not again. Surely not again.
Oh, I'm hitting the ground. Oh no! The other thing.
What is that on? Oh,
this is going great. The other thing I could think is him flying through the air going, Stunt Club! Now, like I said at the beginning of this whole bit, Stunt Club, basically the story was that Dave and Darren were talking about a long time ago, was some radio station had basically asked people to do something illegal. And so the idea was that people were going out doing this thing that wasn't legal, and so the station was receiving a lot of backlash. So they went into this 5-minute thing, or seemed like 5 minutes. It was so funny, I couldn't stop laughing. And I even remember where I was listening to this damn bit. So that's how impactful some of these bits can be. They stick with you forever. And they were just going like, ho-ho! Hey, anybody that can do this is going to get tickets to the big show this weekend, Stunt Club! And... The whole thing was
it's funny because it's true.
That was one part of why it was so funny. But you could just see some silly radio station going, go out and do something illegal. And the one thing that caught me way off guard was he goes, whoa, listeners, blow up the 74 bridge. Whoa, Stunt Club. And I'm like, wow. That's crazy. How did
that happen? And we'll give you tickets if you don't get caught.
How did they not get a talking to after that bit? Like, I need Stewie saying, okay, drop for next week will be Stewie saying, oh, even I thought that to be in bad taste. So that's my reminiscing. That's my old bit, bringing back the old bit for this week. The other thing I wanted to mention this week is that on the YouTube channel, I'm compiling a playlist of fun Dave and Darren things that we all like. You know, classic bits from the show, or just videos that relate to drops from the show. So visit the YouTube page. The link will be provided on all the social media. So go there, and check us out on Facebook, on Twitter, everywhere. Usually search Facebook Turtle News or Turtle News Team and you'll find us. Or the Dave and Darren Fan Show. And either way. So anyway, that is the top things that you need to know for this week, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Coming up right now is one of my favorite things because the Turtle community, if they do one thing well, it's commenting on the Mixlr page during the live show. It's being a part of the Dave and Darren podcast. So here it is. We're going to go into the Zings of the Day.
Consider yourself zinged.
The Zing of the Day.
Or Zings of the Week. Whatever.
Our Zings of the Week, those Zings of the Day.
Yes, you can't be a Zing of the Week without being a Zing of the Day. It's just implied. So I'm going to start today's festivities by reading my entry, which of course is not eligible to win, but it's my show, and I'm like, I don't get enough promotion. Let me do this.
And I allowed it.
Yeah. Thank you, Judge Darren.
Only because I can't comment during the week due to my work schedule.
Right. Yeah, you're a good employee, Josh. I'm sure they appreciate that.
I try to do my best.
There you go. So my entry this week was regarding Dave's That Beer Show. Happened to find a new name. And my title here was, a generic title like That Beer Show was already taken? That's shocking. Signed, Turtle Soup. So timely stuff there from Casey Lincoln. So let's get into the possible winners here. We start out with Nate 1001, who had a very nice thing to say for
Packer fans,
the losers of the NFC Championship game, which I know you have. I know you have no sympathy for them.
None.
Well, when it comes to the Bears, I think Denny always said it best.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
The sports drops are kind of my favorite. I kind of like some of these sports drops.
I hope everybody saw the bad lip reading post that I posted. Have you seen that yet?
Yeah, I've seen those videos before. I haven't gotten to that one yet, but I will check it out because those are always funny.
Check out 2015's version. It's freaking hilarious.
I will be sure to do that. You know what I think? I think where we're going is there shouldn't be any more snacktions here. Turtle News and the Dave and Darren Snack Club are basically one and the same. So we really need to start combining these groups into one powerhouse for the future.
I think we ought to.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
We got to talk to Facebook to see if we can't just join the two pages together.
We might
Dave and Darren Snack Club / Turtle News Fan Club.
Well, we don't want to confuse anybody. Basically, we can be the Wonder Twins. Wonder Twin powers, activate.
Hurrah!
Oh, and hopefully Toboggan is available to play our theme music.
Oh, that'd be great.
or Exotic Rage. We need Russ the Painter. We need Russ the Painter's band Exotic Rage to play us in. To play us in. What does that mean? So anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted Nate's moment of recognition. His comment related to the fallout of the Packers' NFC title loss, discount double choke, which I'm sure has been posted many different places, but I don't have a problem with the Packers. Still very much made me laugh. So there you go. There's the entry from Nate. Now, Donnie the Bicycle Guy and Ball4 both had posts regarding the special guest that was teased from Wednesday into Thursday. Donnie said this, which I'm glad he was thinking of me. His thing was, is it going to be Casey? And, my immediate response in my mind was, they don't need me in there. They don't. Heller did a much better job than I could have done. So I was fine with not being the guest. I've got this, and this is good enough for now. Haven't you?
You are your own guest.
Haven't you done enough? is the answer I have for myself.
Bail!
Bail!
That would have been Darren. That would have been Dave's. Dave would have said, yes, our special guest is Casey. Darren would have been going, bail.
Yeah,
bail.
Absolutely.
Bail. Get out.
Do we have someone else to bring in to join us? Someone else? Yeah.
Didn't you say a special guest was coming on today, Dave? Didn't you say someone special?
Special?
Bail.
Yeah, it's me.
Bail.
Oh, my. And then ball 4, okay, now, ball 4, I don't agree with this, but it was funny, so I'm going to say it anyway. His idea of who the special guest was for Thursday's show was that guy that doesn't know shit about movies? And look, there was a time in my life where this was where, being a cinema major, this is what I wanted to do. I don't have the vocabulary to do it or the writing style to do it. And I know that it's always tough because people, are like this. They think that, you don't know what you're talking about, which, hey, you got to interpret it your own way. That's fine. I have no problem with that. So, a funny comment, but again, I gotta respectfully disagree. I think he knows exactly what he's talking about and he does a good job. But, of course, sometimes you're not going to agree with him. I get it.
If he didn't have the job that he has now, and if people didn't like what he does, they would have cut him out a long time ago.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's doing something good.
Right.
Because he's been around as long as he has.
Yeah. And
whether you like it or not.
Yeah. So, hey, the good thing is we're in America. And so Balfour can say whatever the hell he wants. And God bless him, too. All right. So BD Morganism, he always comes strong. And this week he's got an idea regarding Heller's idea for the new ballpark attractions, whether it needs to be the scrambler, the bumper cars, the carousel. He suggested if it was a scrambler, that all players need to ride the scrambler before they bat, which would make it's already part of the baseball tradition, the spinning bat shtick, so why not incorporate it into the game? It's America's pastime, and I think it's basically like you take baseball and add Wipeout, and there you go. It
ought to be like the fifth inning stretch. Instead of the seventh inning stretch like we have, it'd be the fifth inning scramble.
The fifth. Oh, nicely.
Fifth inning scramble. Everybody before they bat, the whole team. Right in between, the whole team that's going to be batting, those 9 players or whatever, get on the scrambler. Everybody rides it.
Yeah.
The first one gets off. He does his thing, and if he does good, the team goes around again, and then the second one, if he gets on base, and then the team goes around again. So by the time, if all 9 batters go in that round, the 9th batter, worse than drunk, he'll just be wherever he feels like he needs to go.
You've thought this out very well. I think this is a great idea.
Tell me likey. Tell me want wingy.
I think that's a great idea. I think that's something that should happen. Well done. Now, TJ Poker King on Mixlr also had a very funny thing. Now we spend a lot of time kind of cutting on Dave sometimes. He had a really good one here, and that was regarding Turtle Soup, Turtle News, whatever we want to call it, which of course we're calling it Turtle News from now on. He responded, "You mean the show you've only done one of?" Which, that's fair. That's fair, TJ. You got me. But hey, you're being mentioned on the show the second week in a row, bud.
2 weeks in a row now. I don't know how much of a poker king he really is, but we'll give him TJ.
You know what? I bet he's pretty good. I'm not gonna mess with that.
If he lives in Clinton, I wonder if he plays with any of the poker crowd I played with up there.
Could be.
To maybe get him into that.
There you go. CJ Crawford also has a really good one here regarding that fella hit by a train. Red Bull gives you wings after you die, which
is true.
Absolutely.
Be it good wings or bad wings, it'll give you wings.
Mike and DeWitt went the abnormal route. He went an alternate route to get in on the Zings of the Week. He texted in on the Harrington's Pub text line and said, regarding Mandy DeWitt and Dave's love affair, Mandy and Dave then shared a shrimp cocktail. So you just live to cut me down. Shrimp cocktail will never go away. There is, and it shouldn't, because that was great. That was really funny stuff. And finally, on the Zings of the Week this week, Logan comes in with anger leads to hate, hate leads to the dark side, the dark side leads to no Nookie.
Oh, poor Nookie.
What? No. Okay. Is that on the Jersey Shore? The Nookie? Hey, Nookie.
Yeah, Nookie. She's on the dark. And he said, no Nookie whatsoever.
I don't think that's what it is, but that's still... I can believe it. Okay. All right.
Oh, I know what he means.
So,
it still means no Nookie.
So, that closes the entries, and the votes have been tallied. We've run them through the machine, and
it broke.
I think we have a wiener.
That is BD Morganism. All players need to ride the scrambler before they bat.
The ultimate zing.
Thank you, BD Morganism.
And that's this week's Zing of the Week. All right. With that, we're coming to the close. We're got the home stretch here. If you've joined us this week for episode 1, 3, 2, whatever the hell we're going to call it, we thank you. Thanks to everybody. I just want to remind everybody, please go to YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out the videos. We're going to have the bump of the week, which is the end of the show, our kind of moment of Zen moment, which will be coming up here shortly. Go to the Podbean site, turtlenewsteam.podbean.com. Follow us, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/turtlenewsteam, and on Twitter, @turtlenewsteam. Follow us there. So links to everything will be posted. Will of course be out there furthering the brand that is Turtle Soup. Oh, God. Turtle News.
You said it.
What a gaffe. Absolutely I did. Absolutely.
Wow.
This is going great.
I tried.
Drink. You said it twice in a row.
I almost made it. I almost made it a show.
Made it the whole show without
Almost.
saying absolutely, and then you said it twice in a row.
Oh, no, I said it a little bit ago, yeah. You missed it. Now you gotta chug since you missed it. Yeah. So, anyway, with all that being said, thanks for listening so much. I know there wasn't a show on Friday because of Darren having a funeral to attend. Yep, so condolences to his family, and hope everything goes well for them as a family. So, with that, we're going to leave you with our wonderful bump of the week. So, this is in regards to some UFO things that Dave may or may not have seen. So, enjoy it. Please join us next week. This is Casey Lincoln.
And I'm Josh Haut, a.k.a. Golden9140 on any and all user sites.
There it is. So we will see you later. And before we get to the outro of the bump of the week,
later, but we will talk to you later.
We'll at least be coming into your brains through the airwaves. Until then,
I like turtles.
You can laugh all you want.